Good evening. We're going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order at this time. Our clerk will read the roll.
Bolden.
Aye.
Boyes.
Aye.
Connor. Davis. Fusco.
Aye.
Garrett.
Present.
Hannah. Kamer. Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
All members are present.
Thank you. For those who voluntarily wish to do so, would you please stand at this time? I'm going to ask if Councilperson Wilson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's what I thought.
The minutes from our previously held meeting have been provided. Are there any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
The motion to approve the minutes passes 13-0.
We'll now move to our public comment period. We do have 3 individuals who signed up to participate. We're going to ask that you please stand at this time so that you may be sworn in by our clerk. Thank you.
Could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth? If so, please say, I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Just going to ask when you hear your name, if you'll please approach the podium, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak to this body. And we're going to begin with Nathaniel Green.
Good evening. I'm gonna get straight to the point. Last time I was here, Garrick, Malik, and Fusco had some back and forth about police. The bottom line is it was brought up about the chief of police, and they didn't get searched. And I just want to say that I don't know who told the mayor he couldn't hire from the outside of the department. He said someone in the law department told him that he'll be removed from office. And I don't think that's the case. In Ohio, it's not uncommon for mayors to pick outside chiefs, whether it's a police department, fire department. They do it all the time. Our former chief, Milet, is currently chief of police down in Worthington Police Department. All right. Former Akron police officer Jerry Hughes did 5 years as the Monroe Falls police chief. And the Copley, Ohio police chief is from outside. Calvin Williams from Cleveland, he's with the Richmond Heights Police Department. And I'm just saying, we only had one black chief of police, Ed Irvine. And I got his book here. He wrote this about 7 years after he retired. And I want to read something to what he said. I retired after 37 years, over 4 years as the chief. The average tenure of a chief is 4 years. All ranks in the Akron Police Department up through the chief are under protection of civil service. This is good when the chief and deputy chiefs are competent. When they're not, it makes it difficult to remove them. Since I retired, the city charter has been amended. The chief position is under contract, and the chief can be chosen from outside the department, which in my opinion is more practical when a person within the department does not have the necessary qualifications, and there are persons from outside the department more qualified. Now, when Ed Irvine was the chief of police, Akron had over a 70% decrease in citizen complaints from the black community, and that says a lot. When Mayor ran, it was well thought that he was going to hire somebody from the outside of the department. And then he said someone told him. I don't think the mayor can find one mayor in Ohio who got removed from office from hiring an outside officer. So when there's an opening, he should refer to this because somebody gave him some pretty bad advice. And when Chief Harden was asked at the community forum, does he think there's racism within the department, he made it clear, he said no. And if you got problems like racism, first of all, you got to admit there's a problem. Otherwise, nothing gets resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Marsha Andrus.
My name is Marcia Andrus. I'm a resident and tenant council president. I have lived in Spring Hill for over 20 years. I'm here today because we have a very big problem. Our mail have stopped because of roaches and bed bugs seen in the mailboxes. It stopped and started at least 4 to 6 times in the last 5 to 6 months. When stopped, the post office would reach out to Spring Hill and tell them, at which time they, Spring Hill, was supposed to notify us. Not once has that happened. They knew that there was a problem because I told them myself, where I saw a colony of roaches, took pictures, and called the manager. At that time, she came, looked, and had Able Pest Control come and spray one time. This was under the mailboxes and apartments. The nasty trash room on the second floor where they run around and ate freely while throwing a piece of paper in the trash away. One fell on me from the ceiling. Roaches are on all 13 floors. There are people who spend their own money to keep them away. I'm asking that you don't slack off or put us to the side, but see this through to the finish. We need more frequent inspections so that this doesn't happen again. And we need the city inspector to inspect more often to hold the landlord accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marsha. And Ms. Marsha,
Yes.
after the meeting,
Yes.
I want you to meet with me, Mayor Malik, and Mr. Lash, and all the other residents of Spring Hill, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Cherry Berry?
Oh, thank you. Really good. All right.
Or is it Sherry?
It's Cherie.
It's Cherie.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I've done
Okay.
it my whole life.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. Well, we knew it was going to happen. I came prepared. My fellow Akronites, members of City Council, Madam President, my name is Cherie Berry, and I'm a member, or I'm a resident of Ward 4. No worries, I'm not announcing my candidacy today. I'm here to actually speak to you about immigration and immigration reform, specifically what leadership looks like in this moment. The events we've seen recently in Minneapolis and across the country have shaken many of us. They are a reminder of what happens when vulnerable communities are left unprotected and unheard. Moments like these demand clarity, courage from our local governments. I understand the concerns about federal funding. I understand the pressure to comply in advance. But perspective matters. Akron is home to a large Nepali community. We have strong Latino and Hispanic communities. We have, we're a city of Black and brown residents who have waited a long time for meaningful change, particularly when it comes to public safety and accountability. Progress in this city has been slow, and I understand that change takes time. However, our residents have been patient, and that patience should not be mistaken for complacency. This past weekend showed something very powerful. Akronites and fellow Ohioans showed up to care for one another. There is love, solidarity, and a willingness to stand up for our neighbors. Leadership now means meeting this exact moment with action. I appreciate the mayor's statement that Akron will remain a welcoming community, that it is an important foundation. What I am asking for today is clarity and commitment, not just words, about how our city will act to protect the most vulnerable among us, and how the commitment will be made public so residents can have confidence and engage with the process. Leadership in this moment is not neutral. Silence is not safety. Compliancy is not protection. Local governments were not meant to act as an extension of federal power when that power creates harm. They exist to protect the people who live here. I ask you to publicly commit to protecting our vulnerable residents and affirming and striving towards Akron as becoming a sanctuary city, refusing participation in policies that endanger our neighbors, and making that commitment clear so the public can support, engage, and trust it. Leadership now means acting boldly, not later, not quietly, and not out of fear. Akron must choose courage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. That concludes our public comment period. We do want to thank those who took the time to come out and to participate. Council, before you is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
The consent agenda passes 13-0.
We'll now move to old business, planning and economic development. Councilman Fusco.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to request suspension of the rules of the favorable report on item number 1.
Are there any objections to suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
I'd like to ask the primary sponsor, Bruce Bolden, who's been working on this for some time with planning, to report this out, please.
Thank you. Councilman Bolden?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, what we have here is a $400,000 bridge loan for JCI Capital, which is a landlord in the Zon Treeside area, neighborhood of Ward 8. This is a area of Ward 8 that has a lot of apartments. It is one of the areas that has been very difficult to bring any kind of public funding into this area because community development block grant money is based, as we all know, on zip code income, and 44313 does not allow too much of that. We're looking at 441 Zon Drive, and these are 32 apartments, 8 buildings with 32 apartments, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. That is currently at about 40% rental right now, occupancy. JCI has proven in their 69 units that they own that they take care of their landlord, their residents. They take care of their properties. Both housing department and zoning know they take care of this. Also, the police know that's how I met them, was a neighborhood meeting that they brought me to for their residents when there were police issues. They're great landlords. They're local landlords out of Richfield. This building, they could not get full financing because of that 40% occupancy. This is a unique way, through the help of Planning Director Kyle Julian, after a meeting with them, and former Planning Director Thomas Tatum, that we connected with JCI, the Jeters that own that, and set up a plan so we could actually find a way to put some money and help them develop this property. This is what I'm hoping is the first step of making some changes in that neighborhood. Most importantly, it keeps these 32 apartments out of the hands of an absentee landlord, and that's one of the problems we have throughout the city, because we know those absentee landlords, all they care about is the bottom line on their profit at the end of the year. These people care about their residents. They're going to make sure they rehab every single apartment from $3,000 to $5,000. This loan will help them to do that, and they will take care of their residents. I ask for your support on this item.
Thank you so much, Councilman. Any other comments at this time? Councilwoman Amobian?
You know, I spoke with Councilman Bolden this afternoon, and I certainly support this effort. And I think we've asked for more information about the terms of this particular loan. Is anybody prepared to talk about it tonight, or?
If I may?
Yes.
The loan is not made yet. This is to go forward with the loan. So we don't have, it's a bridge loan, basically we'll be paying interest only for, I believe, 18 to 24 months. But that is the plan. The loan has not come through. This is to go through with that loan.
Well, that helps. I'm just curious as to, and we asked Mr. Julian, we realize this is something that is unique. You're going to experiment with it. It sounds like a great idea, but it'll be helpful to understand more about the terms.
Mayor Malik?
Councilwoman Amobian, I don't have the terms of the loan, so I don't want to misstate anything, but we will have the planning director share those with you tomorrow. I do just want to note kind of what Councilman Bolden mentioned, which is that this is a unique approach in a neighborhood where we haven't been able to invest public dollars, particularly because of the fact that it's not in a census tract that's designated for a lot of those federal programs. So this is a way that we thought we would be able to do so. I think we have the funds within the budget to be able to do it, but we're happy to walk through the details with you prior to making that loan. I will say our hope is that this can be a model, right? Because this is, a multi-unit structure, and a lot of the units in that neighborhood really could use some more investment. This is a property owner that has put a lot of investment into the neighborhood already, so they have some track record. So those are a couple of the reasons we felt confident in it. I know the planning director's excited about it, but we can get you some of more of those details tomorrow.
And I want to be clear, I'm for trying anything that's going to give us more housing for those that are in need. And I know that we have a number of mentally ill individuals living in some of those units in that area. But I think I just want to make sure that once we go down this path, I want us to be available to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bolden. And
One
then
thing I forgot to mention is that the JCI capitals, their rental rates fall within the affordable housing rates according to HUD. So these are going to be affordable housing in that neighborhood, not high-end housing, but affordable housing for people who need it.
Thank you. Councilman Garrett.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess my concern is why are we bringing forth the legislation without all of the details in terms of the budget, in terms of the terms, the entire package? Why are we piecing it out? Why shouldn't we should bring this all in together at one time?
Councilman Bolden, you have a response?
My understanding is they need this because they're getting a bank loan to pay for a portion of this, and they need this backing to know that they will have this loan, that it's coming forth, so they can pull the money from the bank that they can. Again, trying to take this kind of money when there's for a piece of property that is only 40% occupied. Banks don't like to lend that kind of money. They want to make sure they're going to get return on investment. This is basically is a bridge loan, more of a kind of a loan guarantee type of thing that they know that we'll be backed by the city. So,
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. The rules have been suspended, and the committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Roll call.
Bolden.
Aye.
Boyes.
Aye.
Connor. Davis. Fusco.
Sorry, aye.
Garrett.
Nay.
Hannah.
Aye.
Kamer. Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Wilson.
Nay.
This ordinance passes 11-2.
Thank you. Councilman Fusco, what is your pleasure on the rest of the agenda?
Time on the balance, thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety, Councilman McKittrick.
Continued time, please.
Thank you. Time will be granted. That concludes our old business. We'll now move into new legislation.
Item number 1, offered by Lombardo, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with Motorola Solutions without the formality of advertising for bids to replace and deploy next-generation portable communications radios for the Akron Fire and Police Departments and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lombardo,
Thank you, Madam President. The committee's report is favorable. We're asking for suspension of the rules.
are there any objections to suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, so our communications radios are out of date, over 10 years old. This new contract with Motorola, obviously better technology, allows police and fire to have better communications. Thank you.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended, and the committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have. Roll call.
Bolden,
Aye.
Boyes,
Aye.
Connor, Davis, Fusco,
Aye.
Garrett,
Aye.
Hannah,
Aye.
Kamer, Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Wilson.
Nay.
This ordinance passes 12 to 1. Item number 2, offered by Fusco, ordinance authorizing a conditional use to construct an addition to a daycare business center at 1264 Copley Road and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Refer.
This item will be referred.
Item number 3, offered by Fusco and Wilson, resolution requesting that the City of Akron be included in the City of Akron Highland Square Special Improvement District, approving the petition for creation of the City of Akron Highland Square Special Improvement District, and approving articles of incorporation for the City of Akron Highland Square Special Improvement District Incorporated and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Refer.
This item will be referred.
Item number 4, offered by Fusco, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to, if awarded, accept and expend funds from the 2026 United States Conference of Mayors Dollar-Wise Innovation Grant Award and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you. The committee wishes a favorable report with suspension of the rules.
Are there any objections to suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is a grant of $10,000, which is for to scale business supports to strengthen childcare provider stability, launched in phase 1 of the United Early Learning Systems, and creating a clear runway for providers to access additional benefits in a full scale system supporting working families, workforce participation, and long-term school readiness.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended, and the committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
This ordinance passes 13 to 0. Item number 5, offered by Kamer, ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Envirotech Services, LLC, for the purchase of de-icing agents for use during the snow and ice season and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kamer?
Consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 6, offered by Kamer, ordinance determining to proceed with the improvement of Home Avenue from 100 feet north of Independence Avenue to 950 feet south of Talmadge Avenue by paving, grading, constructing and reconstructing curbs, concrete sidewalks, and driveway approaches, and installing roof drain pipes and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kamer?
Consent agenda.
This item will also be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 7, offered by McKittrick, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to, if awarded, accept and expend an award from the State of Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services under the State of Ohio Violent Crime Reduction Grant Program and declaring an emergency.
Councilman McKittrick?
Consent agenda, please.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 8, offered by McKittrick, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with the City of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, without the formality of advertising for bids for the use of its training center and firing range by the City of Akron Police Department and declaring an emergency.
Councilman McKittrick?
The committee's report is favorable. We're asking for suspension of the rules.
Are there any objections to suspension of the rules?
Yes.
Councilperson Wilson, do you have a comment?
Objection to, I don't think we should suspend the rules on this, but I appreciate, I didn't get to see the contract, but I just wanted to share that personally. Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
This is an indoor range that's required for different types of qualifications by the state, and the city does not have its own range, so to be able to qualify under the state standards, we need to have this passed.
Okay, thank you so much. So the committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Roll call.
Bolden,
Aye.
Boyes,
Aye.
Connor, Davis, Fusco,
Aye.
Garrett,
Aye.
Hannah,
Aye.
Kamer. Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Wilson.
Nay.
This ordinance passes 12 to 1. Item number 9, offered by Councilman Garrett, resolution expressing condolences to the family of Alex Preddy, calling for a full, transparent, and independent investigation into his death, affirming the City of Akron's commitment to due process, civil rights, and human dignity, and urging the pursuit of public safety policies that protect life and uphold constitutional values, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman McKittrick?
The committee's report is favorable. We're asking for suspension of the rules.
Are there any objections to suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
I will yield to Councilman Garrett, who's the sponsor, but afterwards I do also have further words. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Garrett?
Thank you, Madam President. The gentleman, Mr. Alex Preddy, was tragically shot and killed in Minnesota. I wanted to offer condolences to him, his family, and just the citizens, not only of Minneapolis, but Akron as well. Alex took care of veterans. He was a nurse who spent his life taking care of us when we came home from war, active duty. He cared for veterans. And for that reason, I would like to recognize him for what he's done for us, and also just to hold the full dignity of life and civil rights. He was just protesting and should be here today, Madam President. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Garrett. Any other comments? Councilwoman Boyce?
Thank you, Madam President. I have some concerns with this legislation, and it's not the merits of the legislation itself. I think this is an honorable thing to put forward, and I want to thank Councilman Garrett for reaching out to me personally. We got to have a good conversation about it. I just want to explain, I respect this resolution. 37-year-old ICU nurse who cared for veterans. I mean, what's better than that, right? Spent his life caring for others, and he was shot and killed trying to help someone else. Awful, unforgivable. His family deserves answers, accountability, and justice. As an Akron City Council member, I'm focused on the issues of Akron and lives of our residents. And this resolution does not necessarily address our residents. And as a principal, I don't feel comfortable voting for resolutions on behalf of Akron City Council that don't deal with the city of Akron. And I just want to acknowledge Cherie for her great remarks. I agree. Akron should be dealing with Akron. But as I've mentioned to Councilman Garrett, this resolution doesn't do that specifically. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman McKittrick?
Thank you, Madam President. When you read this, the first paragraph of this, I totally agree. It's spot on, and I commend Councilman Garrett for bringing this in. But there's other aspects in there in the way that it is wording, in my opinion. I can't put my name as a vote on it because I can't substantiate some of the other parts of this body. So I will be voting no for that reason, not because I'm against the actual pretense of it, but the way it's worded in the body. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Fusco, did I see your hand?
Yes, you did. Yes, thank you. Excuse me. I too have some concerns. Primarily, the first thing that came to mind was the mother of three, Renee Nicole Good, who was also lost her life. With regards to the ICE, that's the first thing that came to mind. And I too am concerned about some of the content here. I know the aim is true. I understand that. We are all, I believe, a lot of us are shocked at what has been going on in our country. But I do know that there's a lot going on here at home, and I think supporting the protesters. I believe that their messages are resonating with the federal government. We've heard talk about reducing the amount of folks that are going in to Minneapolis. And I believe the person who is in charge of that operation has been reassigned, which is very, very appropriate. And again, this is we're a blue city. This is this is where I believe, if this is somewhat political, obviously, but in cities all over, this is fear-based, and unfortunately, I would prefer to focus on Akron and keeping Akronites safe and supporting the protesters to make sure they're safe, um, and preparing ourselves. I know that there has been discussions. I know there was a meeting, I believe last week or two, in North Hill to discuss how to support those individuals, the black and brown individuals. We are a welcoming city. We're a welcoming city, and we all stand up for that. But in this regard, I believe that it's in Akron's best interest to support again those individuals to make sure that whenever it comes, if it comes and whenever it comes, that we as a community are ready to support them, and that we also to make sure that the protesters that are out there whose voices are resonating, I believe that's more valuable. But again, I, along with everyone else, respect the initiative here in terms of um, being saddened by what's been going on with regards to Minneapolis and Portland, Maine, New Orleans, Los Angeles. And soon, I understand the rumor mill has it that Springfield, Ohio may see some of this. And so, I'm praying for them too. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Amobi and then Councilman Garrett.
I spoke with Councilman Garrett as well. I guess he reached out to everyone. I am so opposed to ICE that anything we bring here that opposes what they're doing, I will support. I'm just telling you that. Because what they're doing in this country is wrong. And we are a welcoming city, but I think voting for this piece of legislation speaks volumes. It speaks more than just the issue around this young man. It speaks to the fact that we are embracing what's happening in all parts of our country and that we will support the citizens of America. And that is how I see this. Because what I see from a distance, it is terribly wrong what's happening. The racism, all the things that are happening to all kinds of people. I mean, you snatch a 5-year-old child and put him in some cell somewhere. I mean, all of this stuff, it's enough to make you want to scream and pull your hair out because it's so wrong. And I think what the young lady reminded me of is that we probably need to start organizing in our city as to how we are going to support one another, learning how to get the whistles and whatever else and get food for people, because not only do we have Hispanics and Nepalis and Congolese, I mean, you could think of all nationalities, and our population in the city of Akron has grown because of the foreigners and the individuals that are coming from different countries. That is why we have kept our population growth at a higher level. So I am opposed to anything these ICE folks are doing. It's wrong, and I will vote for anything that's brought to this council that opposes what they're doing in other parts of the country, because we need to speak loud and clear that what happens in Minnesota or California or wherever could happen here in Ohio, because I understand they are coming here, and the folks in Springfield, Ohio, should not be living in fear, but they are today. So I'm opposed to any and everything they do, and I would support this and any other piece of legislation that comes before this body.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Garrett?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to be real clear. This was a nurse who helped veterans, and I don't want to move past that. This individual put his life on the line, and to go through the legislation and try to find a reason not to support, it's troubling. It's really troubling when it comes to that. All we want to do is offer condolences to this gentleman, him, his family, and let Minneapolis, Minnesota know, hey, we went through something similar. And we just want to offer our condolences. This gentleman helped veterans coming home. I hope my colleagues understand that. I mean, if you read through the legislation, and I thank Mr. Dreyer, who really helped me to craft it and put it together. We put some real thought and time into this. We didn't want to spend a lot of time talking about ICE and how bad and how terrible and how awful. We didn't want to get caught up in all of that. We just wanted to keep the main thing, offering condolences, Madam President. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Kamer?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm not sure how I'll vote on this until my name is called. If I do support this, it will be only for one reason, is because of my work with veterans and because of the nurse and his work with the veterans. But, you know, a few of my colleagues mentioned that we need to come back to Akron. We need to focus on Akron. I understand it's a resolution, but every day I wake up, you know, I focus on Akron and I focus on Ward 7. And I think sometimes we're misguided and we go down a different path. And so with those comments, I'm just encouraging folks to really reel back and focus on Akron instead of worrying about what's going on throughout this country. Here we are debating and discussing something that is not really here in Akron. And it's just, it really bothers me that where we could be discussing more issues right here at hand. So with that, once my name's called, I'll figure it out. But if I do support it, it will be solely because the individual worked personally with veterans, and I have that connection. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilperson Wilson, I'm sorry. If we could just have all council members speak first, I appreciate it. Your hand was first, and then we'll go to Councilman Hanna, okay?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I just, it does take courage and a certain amount of know how to put something like this up. I think we're all going through it right now, trying to understand what exactly is happening in our own country. I personally am voting in favor of it. However, I did share my own concerns because my concerns are around our tangibles. What are we going to do legally and with our own force and power and funds to be able to protect people when they do come, right? I think that's what I'm focused on. If I may share a couple other just quick thoughts, I think if we can't vote on this, I just have a hard time thinking about how we will be voting when things happen here. And I just have a hard time thinking about that. And what is the headline tomorrow? Is the headline tomorrow Akron City Council is welcoming but can't commemorate a nurse who served veterans, who was killed by a federal agent, possibly in a way that violated their rights, and that was blatantly caught on camera, and that shook a lot of us to the core? But we voted that down. I guess I just, I respect and understand because I've had conversations with a lot of you today, but this is an uncomfortable moment and it should be named as such, but we should also step into that uncomfortability. I'm happy to do so with you guys, but I understand the argument of, we talked a little bit about it, that this is not about Akron. But it is in a way. I think they're coming, If they're not already here, things like this are coming to us. And so we have to decide where we stand on the line, on the spectrum. And for those of you who, are gonna vote no and say, just because Akron, I really and sincerely say I hope to see you in the streets and in this horseshoe legislating on issues that matter when it comes here. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Hanna?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that we've lost the meaning of this resolution. My colleagues, I agree that we should take care of Akron, Ohio. That's our main concern. But I will support this resolution with the first sentence, resolution expressing condolences to the family. After that, I have some issues also. But the idea of us expressing our condolences to the family means more to me than what we should do in Akron. Surely we do our work in Akron every Monday, but let's step out of that comfort box sometime and reach out into other communities and other cities and express condolences. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Davis?
Thank you, Madam President. I rise into support of this resolution. And I understand that we need to focus on Akron. I think we do a good job trying to do that. But it's gotten to the point, this is about America. Akron is part of America, right? So I'm going to fully support, I didn't have an opportunity to talk to Mr. Garrett today about this, but I stand in support of this as well.
Thank you. Mayor Malik?
Thank you very much, Madam President, members of council. Just a couple things as we're having this discussion, and I appreciate the discussion. I think that, so we are sitting here this evening, and certainly by the end of the week, we could have federal agents going door to door in Springfield, Ohio, to tear people from their homes, to send them back to a country that they left in search of a better life, a very unstable country, a beautiful country. But this is something that was entirely foreseeable. This is what, in many ways, the president ran on. It was many of the Ohio mayors, we went down to Springfield last year to support, in 2024, to support that community when they were attacked and the vicious lies of eating cats and things like that. And in fact, we talked about working to resettle some Haitians with temporary protective status here in Akron. And some of the concern was voiced by our own refugee resettlement agencies that this very thing would happen, that people would become embedded in our community and then would be ripped from our community. And was our community kind of prepared and ready to face that test? So this past week, I was able to travel to Washington for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and went up to Capitol Hill and spoke with some of our representatives' offices about these issues. But in the lobby, as I headed to Capitol Hill, I saw Mayor Frey, and I stopped him and I said, we are thinking of you and we want the very best for Minneapolis. What the people of Minneapolis have had to go through, what the people of St. Paul have had to go through in other communities is totally unacceptable. It's not public safety. It's not making communities safer. It's dividing people. Now, I understand that people see this resolution differently, right? And I appreciate that not everyone agrees with necessarily the things that I have to say. I don't know whether ICE will come here, whether it's in a week or a month or a year or several years. What I can tell you is that we as a city, I have confidence, not just in administration, but we as a city, as a broader community, will face it head on together. There is nothing that I can say, there's no sanctuary law that we can pass that can tell you that we will be able to stop ICE from doing what they're seeking to do all around the country. To tell you that would not be true, right? The laws in Minneapolis, the laws in New York City do not permit that either. And I'm here for the conversation about what we should do. And we have been working with immigrant and refugee stakeholders and broader stakeholders across our community to plan and to prepare. And we welcome all of you to those conversations. Again, we don't have to agree on those conversations. But the reality is that that's what's happening, the way ICE has been deployed, is entirely unacceptable. Should not occur anywhere in this country. I certainly don't want it to happen in Springfield. I certainly don't want it to happen here. And as far as this resolution, and I hesitate because I don't have a vote on this resolution. But what I would say is that, sometimes while I sat at this desk that right up here in the front, there were issues that, maybe they seem like they were about one issue, but maybe they were about another issue, right? And I think that some people read this resolution and they say, well, it's about ICE, but it's also about policing and use of force, right? Because that is how the text of it is structured. And I had to go and look at it and look at the text, and I don't find it objectionable. I would say that Councilman Garrett is perhaps my fiercest critic on these issues. We don't see eye to eye a lot, and so I had to make sure that there wasn't something that I profoundly disagreed with in there, but it isn't, because frankly, I don't think that the situations are the same. I think in Akron, we're a community that we are always trying to get better in every situation, whether it's in the way that we engage with housing, the way we engage with policing, the way that we engage in any other thing. And so, I certainly I respect and appreciate the body of this resolution and the ability to pay homage to this man who lost his life and to a community that is suffering, and recognizing that those perils will likely befall our own state very soon and could involve our own community as well. I do believe, regardless of what we do with this resolution, that we will face it head on together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilwoman Boyes?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank folks for the conversation. I just want to go on record as saying these types of things are often used to score some cheap political points, and I'm not saying that that's what's happening right here. I am not for that, which is why I want to go on record and saying I am not for these types of resolutions traditionally, but this conversation has kind of moved me to a place where I think, there are times when we do need to meet the moment. And I don't necessarily agree that this is the way to do it. In fact, I would be much more happy with something that talked about Akron's immigrant and refugee population and the organization supporting them, but this is what we have in front of us. So I just want to thank everybody for the conversation and for maybe changing my mind a little.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I am going to be supporting the resolution, and for me, this resolution is about empathy. It's about sympathy. And we don't have to live in other parts of the world to understand what empathy and sympathy is and what that means. So, when you say it's not an Akron problem, it very well could be an Akron problem. And so for me, I'm supporting it because that's what good communities do. When tragedy happens, communities should stand with those communities. Yeah, it's not happening in Akron. It might be Springfield tomorrow. It could be Akron tomorrow. We just don't know. And so I just want to thank Councilman Garrett for bringing this forward and just letting you know that I am in full support. Councilman Lombardo?
Thank you, Madam President. Right. I hear you, Councilman Garrett and Councilwoman Mobian and Boyes and Hannah. I've heard everything you said. I'm not going to repeat it. But you're exactly right, Madam President. I just think that, if something happened here, would we want Minneapolis to support us? Would we want LA? Would we want their prayers from all across the country? And the answer is yes. So I think we just don't read too much into this, and appreciate you bringing this forward, Councilman Garrett.
Thank you. Any further comments at this time? Are we ready for the vote? All right, so the committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
No.
Roll call.
Bolden,
Nay.
Boys,
Aye.
Connor, Davis, Fusco,
Nay.
Garrett,
Aye.
Hannah,
Aye.
Kamer, Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Nay.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
and Wilson.
Aye.
This resolution passes 10-3.
Thank you. That concludes our new legislation. We'll now move into committee assignments, rules. Councilman McKittrick.
2 p.m.
Public Safety, Councilman McKittrick.
2:15.
Budget and Finance, Councilman Lombardo.
3 p.m.
Parks and Recreation, Councilwoman Connor. Planning and Economic Development, Councilman Fusco.
1.
Housing and Neighborhood Assistance, Councilman Bolden.
3:30.
Public Service, Councilman Kamer. Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Davis. Is there anything else coming before council at this time? Councilman Garrett?
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, as a newly elected member to the Public Safety Committee, I'm committed to police reform. That is my main focus, and so I'm locked and laser on police reform. Madam President, we had a very successful police reform meeting. Thank you to the police officers who participated. Thank you to Jan Davis for coming up with an amazing idea, and thank you for participating with us, Madam President. We're going to be hosting another forum, and it is solely focused on police reform. And that's going to be Thursday, February the 5th at Mason CLC, and that's going to be from 6 to 8. We've also invited, Madam President, and I've heard back from the Divine Nine. Those are the fraternities and sororities throughout the city. They would like to lend their voices to what we're trying to do. They want to come and hear. They've been invited, and I'd love for them to be there to just express their concerns around police reform in our city. It is about making a real meaningful change. The mayor ran on that issue, and I just want to hold him accountable. That's it. Nothing more than that. There's been an issue, Madam President, around a poster that a constituent created and shared with me. And with that, Madam President, that constituent said to me, Councilman, with all of these amazing folks around the mayor, why is he not listening to them on police reform? Some of the basic things. Some of the basic things, Madam President, about not pursuing individuals for low-level crimes through our communities, going 80 and 75 miles an hour. The young lady who was over at Bookto who passed away because officers speeding. We just want to hold them accountable. Longer look back on the body cam. They just want to know, why can't we have longer look back on the body cam? Why can't we have entire conversations held? Why do they have to be muted? And they don't want to hear some made-up stories where we don't have the cloud space or we can't do it. That can absolutely be done. And these are the things that the mayor can do without any union support. This city, Madam President, because we want to talk just about Akron. Over the last 2 years, the settlements from the police force, the pending lawsuits, and the actual settlements is going to total tens of millions of dollars. And Madam President, this should be troubling for all Akronites. Over 13 in the last 2 years. This is about police reform, nothing more than that. And so when I hear these conversations about a poster, I really want them to focus on the whole issue of police reform. When you have individuals able to drive up and down the streets and run and cause the young lady, McGinnis, I think, over at Bookto, who's tragically passed away, we just want to hold them accountable for those actions. And so these are some of the things that we want to talk about during this next meeting about police reform. And I don't want anybody to think, okay, he's scoring cheap political points. Move past that. I want to talk only about police reform. I don't want to get into back and forth. I want to have a real meaningful conversation about how we can change that, how we can make our city better. As a veteran who fought for this amazing country, I'm a member of law enforcement. And if I just want to hold them accountable, I shouldn't be villainized. I shouldn't be pointed out as, hey, this person is just trying to, I just want to hold him responsible. So many of our constituents say, hey, I'm just disappointed because we thought that was going to be a #1 issue in our community. Now, I get it. We might have some connected directs and things of that nature, and I appreciate that. Really, I do. But I just want to just stay laser focused on police reform, Madam President. So I would like to invite individuals to come out and express your concerns, and let us hear from you. We've tried the NAACP speaking. We've tried some of the organizations speaking. We've tried different meetings. Now I would just like for the constituents, the people out in the community to say, hey, speak up. Let us hear from you. How do you feel about these things that the mayor could do without any union support to make our city better? Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Madam President, before the mayor speaks, may I say something, please?
Yes, yes, you can.
Mr. Mayor, I hope you don't mind. I just want to go on record as saying during my conversation with Councilman Garrett, I did ask him, and I said to him that regardless of what we think about the forums, I have no problem with people having discussions about anything they want to talk about. I don't think the staff members should be on the flyers. Those individuals, and I've heard from 1 or 2 of them, those individuals have the privilege of working for the mayor. They can confer with him at any time they want to. And I don't even know how they feel about this issue or if they have any thoughts about it. But I don't think their image should be on a flyer where you're discussing something as controversial as this about their boss. So we talked about that. And I think these images should be removed, and I said that. Secondly, hopefully the mayor can address this. This issue that you're going to talk about after council, I plan to be there. You know, no one should live with roaches like what I hear happened at Spring Hill. And if we need to amend our policy, these folks should be penalized much stronger than what we have in our policy. But I know we can't do anything retroactively, but if these folks have been living in this kind of condition for this long, and their mail has stopped because of these roaches. Now, I grew up down south. It's kind of common for roaches to be down south. But to have the roaches at this level in one of these apartment buildings is unacceptable, and we should hold their feet to the fire in any way we can, even if it means amending our own policy to add more penalties to this. This is absolutely wrong, and people shouldn't have to live this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mayor Malik?
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. And Councilwoman Amobian said it in a nice way, so I'll say it in a little bit different way, which is essentially that, you know, we have had many of these discussions here on council floor over the last 2 years, and I imagine and I hope we will have many more because this is such a critical issue. The city has never done a comprehensive use of force review, and it's 201 years now, I guess. And that's why we've relentlessly pursued this. And I appreciate that the councilman opposed it before he supported it, and tried to expose my connections to the law firm that we initially brought in to conduct this review. The exposed actually is inaccurate because that itself was not true. It concerns me, Madam President, that the councilman can not frequently speak on this issue without saying something untrue. And so I welcome discussion all the time about how we can improve policing, just like I welcome discussion about how we can improve housing, just like I welcome discussion about how we can improve economic development, and people do not have to agree with me on it. I am accountable to every single resident in this community. I was elected by the representatives of this community to do this job. Now, what I want to be very clear with is that portraying caricatures and AI cartoons of unelected city staff is childish, and it's unprofessional, and it's beneath the council member's position. And what's more is that at some level he knows that, right? Because he didn't come out right away and post it. He first texted it to people, and then he handed it out to people. And then I assume I said, I don't think he can sit on his hands long enough. Then he posted it, and I assume that it's for clout, right? I want to think better of someone. I assume it's for clout. But it is fundamentally a distraction, and a distraction on perhaps the most essential thing that we're trying to do. We are talking about matters of life and death. And if I'm wrong and the intentions are all pure, I would hope that the council member can understand that it is so unprofessional to use caricatures and likenesses of people who are not elected without their permission. I think that's pretty simple. I think that's something that the other members of this body and the public, even people who profoundly disagree with me, can agree on. I hope so. But in any case, I hope that we stay focused on the actual work, because it is true that there is a lot of work, and someone said a little bit earlier that the patience should not be mistaken for complacency. And it is true that we have an awful lot of work to do in how we improve in this area, I believe, right? And so that is the work that we are in the very middle of. And the councilperson knows this, particularly because the consultants have even been to the establishment that the council member formerly ran. We are in the middle of this work. And so I am sorry profoundly that we have not skipped to the end of it. But what we are trying to do is real, lasting change. And while I think that I understand people who said, we have not seen enough in 2 years, I take that complaint fully. What I would say is that to have real, lasting change, these are issues that have developed over decades and even 201 years of this city. And so if this is how we are going to engage on this issue, then we probably will wander around in the wilderness of division and childishness instead of actually tackling the problems at hand. So I welcome town halls, I welcome initiatives, I welcome charter amendments, I even welcome campaigns. But AI caricatures and likenesses should be left out of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Malik. Councilman Garrett?
Thank you, Madam President. You know, what I seem to think is disheartening is allowing Jasmine Tucker to lay in the field for 8 minutes. You want to talk about a photo? How about the photo of that dead body just laying there for 8 minutes while the officers did nothing and there was no accountability? That's all I'm asking for. The mayor stood at that podium, Madam President, and didn't speak one thing about police reform. Not one thing he's done on police reform. And that's all we're asking, for him to do something on police reform. Because had he done it, Mike Jones would still be here because they had police reform. Had he done it, Jasmine Tucker would be here because he would have worked on police reform. He misled a lot of people in our community by telling him he was going to make that that was a priority. You don't wait 2 years for that, Madam President. You can do it right now. Now, you know, to suggest somehow after I discovered that one of his Harvard friends was getting ready to get the bid for $750,000.
Who?
Whoa.
Who?
We're going to ask you, we got to maintain order, okay? So Councilman Garrett is speaking. Mayor, okay?
You know, Madam President, all I ask for is respect. I stand here and I didn't cut him off, not one time. I didn't disrespect him, not one time. But he feels the need to be very disrespectful, and I'm so glad that you called it out. As I finish, Madam President, we shouldn't have to wait for 2 years. We knew that Mike Jones' vehicle wasn't stolen, it was a conversion. We knew that. So why in the world would we then pursue him in that regard? And then tragically shoot him, Madam President. And then we show the video of the whole incident. And then we discover, Madam President, that they took the gun out of a gentleman's pocket and placed it on the front seat of the vehicle. Where is the accountability, Madam President? How am I supposed to explain that to my constituents that that's okay? We have a situation where Miss Autumn Riddles, I don't know if she's in the lobby, she's been harassed by the union president. Harassed, intimidated, all of that. You think the mayor would spend time on that piece of police reform, getting him in check? No. He's able to take videos of her, do all of that. How terrible, Madam President. A union president would do that. You think maybe he would spend time on helping Lieutenant Murphy's case? You think he would spend time on Holland's case after getting suspended for 75 days? When you have other officers who are getting 17 months of paid leave? Madam President, police reform is so needed. I'm not just making these things up. And then you throw in parks and walks, Madam President. He wants to use those. This is police reform that I'm talking about. I can go days on this. But you know what? You have parks and walks, they're up. Has any of them been on Madison? Has any of them been in the neighborhoods, Madam President, that's really needed? Madam President, I don't want to continue to drag this on, but the mayor needs to be held to account. I'm disappointed, as well as my constituents. I don't want to go back and forth. If he wants to go back and forth, bring me stats, bring me numbers about police reform, things that he's able to do right now. You had Mayor Horgan, you had Mayor Pasquale. He wasn't afraid of the union. And in life, you don't get what you're worth, you get what you negotiate. And if you're dealing with a mayor who's not able to really negotiate with the union, we're stuck, Madam President. That's where we are, and it's my job. My job, as I finish, Pastor Darren Brake at church says, I'm lucky to be able to do this. I'm lucky to be in this position. I am so thankful to be in this position. Because if I'm not bringing up police reform, who else would do it? Thank you for your time, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. At this time, just very briefly, last comment, very briefly, please.
Well, I would prefer to talk about all of the things that the councilman shared. What I'll restrict myself to is that even just in that last comment, councilman could not help but tell a mistruth, which is that there's a Harvard classmate that I had some connection to. And the reason that you know it's a mistruth is that there's no name. And this is the MO of the councilman, is to throw something out there and then just quickly move on to the next thing without really noting that that there's no substance behind it. And so I am fine to go chapter and verse with the councilman on this issue. The very first thing the councilman brought up, the Jasmine Tucker killing, we have to sit here knowing today that the internal investigation is not done. So certainly there is not a decision point on that to pretend like that decision has been made and done. And so that is just one piece of it, but I was asked to not go back and forth. But those are just two things in just those couple of minutes. And so, again, I would like to say I am fine with all of the disagreement, but we should all be able to agree that using caricatures of unelected public servants without their permission is childish and wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying
No.
aye.
Aye. No.
Meeting adjourned.
This concludes the live broadcast of Akron City Council. Margot Somerville, President of Council, presiding.